You've probably seen it. Neat TLC, has great bones, property won't last. Those might all make you think, wow, what a great opportunity. But here's the thing, those little lines, they can say a lot. Today I'm going to break down 6 common phrases you might see in a listing that are worth paying attention to. Not necessarily because they're bad, but just because they might signal what the seller is really trying to say. If you're buying a home in Calgary this year, this is the type of knowledge that might make your home search smoother and smarter. Hey folks, I'm Pauline with the McLaren real estate team. And one of the things we help our clients with every day is how to decode listings. Sometimes it's not everything that the listing says, but it's more what's being emphasized, or sometimes it's what's not being said. The first thing we want to talk about is has great bones. We hear that one a lot, and that's not a bad thing. Has great bones usually means that it's structurally sound, probably has a decent layout. What it normally means is that perhaps a lot of the cosmetic things such as flooring, as kitchens, bathrooms, they might need updated. But the other thing you want to keep an eye on some of these things is when they say great bones, they're talking about structures. It doesn't necessarily mean that the roof's good, that the furnace is good, hot water tank. Some of those things might also need replaced. When we say it has great bones, we want to check on those other things, because if they're all fine, this can be a great opportunity to add value just by doing all the cosmetic things, which normally aren't as expensive and don't take as long to fix. Another one we often see is needs TLC or bring your vision. This often represents a great opportunity for a buyer, because sometimes TLC means just a nice good cleaning. Can use your vision. That might mean that might need some updates. Relatively inexpensive, but those are things that can normally be done versus the value it's going to add to your property. Whether you're a first-time buyer looking for a smart entry point or someone that wants to really add their own vision, this can be a great opportunity. It's an opportunity to perhaps buy low and build equity in the property. One word of advice when buying these properties though is make sure you do have a clear plan for your renovation, including a budget. And what I always tell people on renovation budgets, add a little bit extra just in case. No matter what we think we might spend, we tend to spend a little bit more. Next one we often see on these is price to sell or won't last long. To be honest, this is usually just a marketing gimmick. It doesn't necessarily mean anything one way or another. But as realtors, our job is to look a little deeper. How long has it been on the market? Has it previously sold and gone pending? If those signs don't give us any bad vibes, then what it might mean is that the seller is really willing to negotiate, they're motivated, and it might turn out to be a great opportunity for you as a buyer. As I said, sometimes it is a great opportunity on those types of lines, but more often than not, it really is just a marketing gimmick. Number 4 on my list, fully finished basement. Normally that'd be a great buying feature. More living space, perhaps an opportunity to put in a legal suite and rent it out. A lot of great opportunities on fully finished basement. However, that's exactly the thing. Fully finished basement could mean almost anything. It could mean that it's already got a beautiful legal suite that you can rent out for $2,000 a month. Or it could be some hack like myself went out there, did a do-it-yourself job, put in a bedroom, maybe not even with a legal egress window, put in a quick bathroom and put some carpet down on the cement floor and says, hey, it's a fully finished basement. What you want to look for here is pictures will tell 1,000 words. What do the pictures show? You can quite often in those pictures see the quality of the work by the pictures. The other things us as realtors want to do is we want to follow up and find out, were there permits pulled? Are there proper egress windows in the basement? That, of course, being to code is so important these days for safety features. And when I look at the layout, does it really make sense, or does it look like somebody just took a basement, fired up a few walls and said, okay, yeah, it's fully finished. Normally when you see fully finished, that's going to be a good thing, but not always. We always have to take a deeper look. Okay, on my listings, quite often I'll put this one, natural light throughout. So, hey, that's a great thing. I love natural light. I love a house where you can open up 30 windows and let the breeze blow through. However, if that's all it says, that might be a sign that there's more to it. And I have seen those listings where capital letters at the start, natural light throughout. And then when you read the rest of the comments, it really doesn't say much. That could be a sign that it's not a great floor plan, that it does need a lot of other work. The outside of the house isn't great. So although natural light throughout is great, it is something that us realtors use to often hide other things that aren't so great within the house. And the last one actually isn't a phrase, but it is something that to keep an eye on listing. Is it missing photos? Does it have any photos? If it doesn't have any photos, obviously that's a red flag. But if it doesn't have photos of the backyard, that's probably a pretty good sign that the backyard isn't worth photographs. If it doesn't have photographs of the basement, we already talked about the basement, probably a good sign that the basement's not worth taking photographs. It actually would deter from the way the listing looks. Likewise, any room in the house. If every room in the house is a room you'd want to be in, then every room in the house should have a photograph. That said, there can be times when that's not the case, where in fact they were finishing up renovations on a certain room, but they wanted to get on the market as soon as possible. So in fact, that's going to end up being the best room in the house, but there might not be photographs. And that's where it's our job to kind of look a little deeper. Call that other realtor, find out, say, hey, I noticed there's no photographs of the downstairs bathroom. Is there an issue with it? No, they're renovating it. So it's going to be perfect in a week. Again, our job is to help you work through those things. At the end of the day, listings are meant to spark interest. They're there to get your attention. And all these phrases we talked about are things that will help get your attention. However, they don't tell the whole story. And that's not a bad thing. To be honest, us as realtors, we don't want them to tell the whole story because otherwise we wouldn't have a job. So we're here to get the whole story for you. As a listing realtor, we're there to try and get other realtors to contact us to get the whole story. As a buying realtor, we're just there to make sure that you're getting the right property and to follow up on these little things that realtors put in their listings that might not be quite what they see. At McLaren Real Estate, our job isn't just to unlock the doors and let you have a look at the property, to help you to understand the listing, make sure you're making an informed choice about the listing and that you're getting the right property today and in the future. I hope this little bit of information has been informative for you. And the next time you're on Realtor.ca and you're looking at listing and you see some of those phrases like TLC, that you don't just scroll on by them, that you think, I wonder what they mean by that. And that you take a close look at the listing. If you've got any other questions about anything you've heard today, make sure you contact us at McLarenRealestate.com.